Hey everybody, Travis7861 here, bringing you a deck profile for Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes, Yu-Gi-Oh! I usually do gaming on this channel, but I guess Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a card game, so I'm going to show you a deck profile for this game. Now before I get started, I know Yu-Gi-Oh! Is childish to some people. I personally enjoy the game, so yeah, it's just one of my hobbies. Just personally like the game. So without further ado, I'm going to show you this deck that I've built in the past. It cost about $45. It's probably the best deck that I own, and it's called Dark World. And I'll show you it right here. Just let me split them up. And here we go. I run 3 Graphas. Grapha is the main monster. When he is discarded by a card effect, you can blow something up on the fields. It doesn't matter what it is. Discard him to the graveyard, blows up, back row, monster, field card, anything you want. To special summon him, you put a Dark World monster onto the field, return it to your hand, pop him out from the graveyard. He has to be in the graveyard for this to work. If he's banished, then it doesn't work. But countering him, it would be the banishment. That's probably the best way to counter Grapha. He's a 2700 beater. And when he comes to the field with the field card I have in this deck, he turns into a 3000 beater. So that's him. 3 Snow. Snow is the search of the deck. If she's discarded to the graveyard, she can search anything that has Dark World in it. And it doesn't matter if it's a spell, trap, or a monster. Just as long as it says Dark World in the name, it's searchable by Snow. 3 Brow. Brow is for the draw. He's discard. You can draw 1 card. 2 Beige. Beige is one of the best cards in this deck. It's 1600 beater and 1900 with gates of Dark World on the field. You can use this to spam Grapha. When he's discarded by an effect, he can get special summoned immediately, which saves your normal summon. So what you do is you discard him with an effect, bring him out, bring him back to your hand, Grapha, put him back as a normal summon, bring it back, put another Grapha on the field. 2 Silvas. Silva is the beater of the deck, I should say. He's one of the beaters of the deck, personally. He's a 2300. He turns into a 2600 with Gates, because Gates gives every Fiend monster a 300 boost. It's pretty strong. It's also an Eradicator and a deck devastation virus target. Also, it can spam Grapha because you can bring it right to the field and then discard again and bring Grapha to the field. 2 Trans Archfiends. Trans Archfiend is the card that helps bring Grapha back from banishment, and also is an engine for discarding. His effect is when he enters the field, once per turn you can discard 1 Fiend monster from your hand to the graveyard. He gains 500 attack, so with Gates he'll gain actually 700. If my math's correct. No, 800. He'll grab 800. Sorry about that. Not very good at my math these days. But anyways, when he is destroyed by battle, only by battle, you can bring one of your banished monsters back from the banishment. So if your Grapha gets banished by an opponent, you can bring it right back and put it back in your hand. That's it for the monsters. On to the spells. I run a lot of spells in this deck. You're going to need them. The main one I run is 3 Gates of Dark World. Gates of Dark World is the engine that drives this deck. This card is a must. I run 3, obviously. What it does is you banish 1 Fiend monster from your graveyard, discard 1 Fiend monster from your hand, and then draw. And then all my monsters except for Trans Archfiend are discard effects, so all the discard effects would go off. And also, it gives all Fiend monsters on the field, including your opponent's side of the field, 300 attack. 3 Dark World dealings. This card is control. This card is very control. It lets both players draw a card and then discard a card. Now, since you're going positive with the discards, unless you don't get a good hand, your opponent has to think on his feet when he draws. So if he draws a good hand at the first, he has to discard something in his hand that might be able to help. So like if you're facing Zodi and he's got like 4 pieces in his hand, he's going to have to discard something, or something like that. But yeah, you know what I mean. He'll just get rid of something in his hand. He doesn't really... It's control. 1 Dark World Lightning. discard a card, destroy a card on the field, and then discard. Now the reason why it says destroy a card first is because if any of the cards in Yu-Gi-Oh for Dark World said discard, the discard wouldn't go off. This card lets you blow up any set card on the field, face down monster or face down spell or trap. It's basically an MST, and you can also get a discard effect with it. One Gateway to Dark World. Gateway to Dark World is the Monster Born of this deck. Since Monster Born is banned at the moment, please don't come back. I personally don't like Monster Born. It's pretty OP. I usually chain this card at the end phase because you're not allowed to special summon any more monsters during the turn. So on your opponent's turn, you just flip this up. It is a quick play. You can bring Grapha from the graveyard and then spam his abilities. It's a pretty good card. 2, Drag Down to the Graves. This is a combo card in my deck. Drag Down to the Grave is a card, you play it. Your opponent must show his hand to you. You pick a card, he discards it, then draws. Then the same for you. So what you do is, in this case, you drop all your spell or traps. Then you play this card. He has no point, no choice but to drop one of your Dark World monsters to the graveyard for the effect, and then you draw a card. You're basically going positive while he goes negative. For staples, Foolish Burial to throw Grapha in the graveyard for first turn. Book of Moon to save Grapha. Dark Hole, 3 MSTs. Allure of Darkness, because if I have a bad hand, I can banish one of my Fiend monsters and draw 2. Is it draw 2? Yeah, draw 2 monsters. Draw 2 cards from my graveyard. From my deck. I'm sorry, it's very tired. I'm very tired right now. I can't believe I'm doing this deck profile. Tired. You draw 2 cards from your deck, and you must banish a dark monster from your hand. And then Cheerful Coffin. This card has won me a lot of games. If you have 2 Sylvas and a Grapha, you can discard up to 3 monsters in your hand. You don't have to discard 3, but you can discard 3. So, for example, discard 2 Sylvas, they're special summon, discard Grapha, blow up a card, pull one of your Sylvas to the hand, and pull Grapha right from the graveyard. So that's it for the spells. Now, next, the trap cards. DDV and EEV. Epidemic Eradicator Virus. Eradicator Epidemic Virus is good. It's a good card, yes. When this card is flipped up, you must tribute a 2500 or higher dark monster. For you, and what it says is, for the next 3 turns, check your opponent's field, hand, back row. So the field, hand, everything, not the deck, just the hand and the field. If you choose spell or trap, you have to choose one of them. They're all destroyed for 3 turns. It's pretty friggin' OP if you ask me, especially since Silva or Grapha are a target, and since Grapha is easy to bring from graveyard, you use this, tribute Grapha, put a Dark World monster down, bring Grapha back. It's just a free tribute. And the same thing with Deck Devastation Virus, but it does 1500 or lower monsters that you draw or on the field. They're sent right to the graveyard for 3 turns. This one, you only need 2000 attack for a dark monster to tribute. So that's it for the viruses. Mind Crush, this is the second combo card. When you use Drag Down to the Grave, Drag Down lets you see their hand so they draw. As soon as you're done resolving Drag Down, you play Mind Crush and declare 1 card in their hand. If you get it right, they must discard every copy of it. So if they have 2 Mirror Force in their hand and you see it when you play Drag Down, you just get rid of 1 card that's not Mirror Force, flip this up, and it gets rid of the Mirror Forces, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, if you can't pull off the combo, if you guess wrong and you just be a dick about it and say, oh, I bet you have Monster Born in your hand, even though it's banned and people don't play it anymore, they say no. That means they have to pick 1 random card from your hand, and when they do, the discard effects will go off of your monsters. If you have monsters only in your hand, then you're going positive. Okay, so that's the Mind Crush. For staples, just run 2. I thought I had a Bottomless Trap Hole in this deck. I don't know where it is. But I have a Bottomless. I don't know where it went. But Bottomless Trap Hole, Dimensional Prison, Compulse, and my counter of the deck is Dark Bribe. It doesn't work. It's not supposed to be in this deck, but I use it. It just has Dark in the name. I can counter any spell or trap card, and they draw a card, so I can also see their hand if the viruses are up. And that's it for my deck profile. I know I was kind of sloppy doing this tutorial on it. But if you like the deck, please like the video, comment, subscribe what you think. I'm sorry about the sloppiness. I've been working on it. It is 2:03 a.m. in the morning in Ontario right now. And, yep, I got cool sleeves on them too. I got them from eBay for $10. Feel free to use this on Deck Pro if you wish to. And yes, have yourself a nice day.